Hello everyone, and welcome to a historic commentary playthrough of Kingdom Come Deliverance. I'm Cody Bonds.
I'm Rachel Linn.
Dr. Rachel Linn.
Dr. Rachel
Linn. Point that out. Okay. Doctor of Interdisciplinary Arts with a major in history, minor in history.
Oh, I had a minor in history, yeah.
Yeah, and you also took several classes on illuminated manuscripts, as I recall, as well, right? One of your PhD professors was an expert in medieval manuscripts, which is one of the reasons why she's here today. Also, she's just polite and wanted to help me out with this. And my background is I have a BA in archaeology and a master's in archaeology for media. So, as you can imagine, I'm pretty darn excited for a game that is purportedly, Skyrim, except historical. Mm-hmm. So we're going to jump right in, do a new game here. I will admit, this is actually my fourth time playing the first hour of this stupid game because random things keep happening to make me restart it.
Charles IV, King of Bohemia and Holy Roman Emperor, had a long and successful reign. The empire he ruled from Prague expanded.
I really like the art style in this game.
His subjects lived in peace and prosperity.
What about it?
Well, it's medieval manuscripts. This is a lot of it's actually drawn from the Massachusetts Bible. I mean, literally, some of these are just cut out pieces of it.
More than 7,000 people accompanied
which
him
is
procession.
like, I think, 1200s, it shows the Crusades.
The heir to the throne of the flourishing empire was Charles's son, Wenceslas IV, whose father had prepared him for this.
All based on real history, by the way.
Life.
Yeah, get some baudy ladies. I like the cleverly placed hands just to make sure to slip this game past the censors. It was released on console, so they couldn't have boobs everywhere. You can't pull a Witcher. Not everyone can pull a Witcher.
He even failed to turn up for his own coronation as emperor.
It's interesting. I've been seeing a lot more of these kind of parallax-style openings, where it's individual pieces that are cut out from the background, and they all kind of move independently.
Which makes it fairly dynamic.
Yeah, because I mean, normally, like you said, it's a flat.
I like that background.
Until the nobles, exasperated by the
inaction, all drawn from period
his half-brother,
manuscripts.
Sigismund of Hungary.
I love those horses. The medieval horses always look so weird.
So angry.
Angry.
So angry.
To force him to act.
This is a really long intro.
Yeah, probably unnecessarily wrong.
Yeah, I don't know why we needed all that. If you can't do that much backstory in the actual game, you probably don't need it. There are tons of ways to weasel that in as you go and then have me learn it. Oh, there's more. Yeah, there's more. And this is actually my issue with the game. After going through that whole big intro sequence, they just summarize it again for you. Really? Yeah. No trust. No trust in the audience.
And this is actually the shorter, easier version of it. It's like, I actually think the other one was gorgeous, but,
Yeah, the other one was really pretty. If you're going to spend all that money, just trust us, I guess.
And
this is pretty.
Yeah, so this is actually the world we're going to be playing in. So this is a pre-rendered cinematic, but from what I've seen of the game so far, and there's deer, and you know how I feel about hunting animals in games.
I know you want to make that happen.
Yeah. I know that sounds terrible to say, but I'm actually a huge naturalist. I've watched every David Attenborough special, traveled to every national park there is, so. Right? I mean, really detailed medieval village there. Now, the whole thing is set in 1453, obviously, which is right on the burgeoning edge of the Renaissance. So, I mean, this is really what they call the late Middle Ages. This is we're getting kind of far away from knights on horseback and into other aspects of it now. I find it really interesting just how much of the peasant economy has been modeled here. Mm-hmm. Because it's not just the big castle. You see people walking around. You have mining, and that's a pretty sophisticated system of mining, too, so that tells you kind of where you are historically. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things they really push for in this game. Of course, though, you do have knights and all that. Now, the original game was actually a Kickstarter for a combat game, so the whole thing was based on, the most accurate medieval combat they could come up with. And then everyone was sort of like, well, that's sort of lame. Let's turn it into an actual game. We have all this stuff. Let's do something bigger with it. So I've been following this one for, about 3-4 years now. So this is
that makes sense. You test your prototype and work out the kinks there. Mm-hmm. Because that's going to be the most difficult thing to render in a full game.
Yep.
So you test that out. Get the kinks worked out.
So
we haven't done anything yet.
we haven't done anything yet.
Not how long? How?
You still have
we're
about...
still watching. Oh.
Well, husband, how goes it?
Good. I should get it finished today. Where on earth is Henry?
Henry, right? Yeah.
I need him to run some errands.
We have a son
He
named
was
Henry.
still
so.
sleeping when I went out.
This hour? Blue bloody idler.
Well, it looks like he was out all evening, drinking
I
like
still
a
don't get that
lord.
comment. I mean, drink was such a integral part of the life of the medieval world. So unless he's like drinking really fancy wine from France,
Which is probably what she's implying, actually. That it's a gluttonous amount of drink. It's not.
So yeah, keep in mind, water, not as palatable back in the day. The idea of boiling water hadn't come about yet, so everyone was drinking beer, which had been boiled. So not only that, they drank weak beer, which is like 2.5% alcohol.
to be done.
But people have often talked about the fact that a lot of the weird decisions from the Middle Ages was basically because they're always low-level drunk at all times.
Hear that? You'd better not vex him.
This kind of threw me
Now
off,
get up quick.
because she's like, what,
The breakfast
40?
is on the
And he's
table.
like 20-something.
Right.
Right, I know, right?
That's accurate.
It's accurate, but it's still so weird to see that in a game, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, so he's definitely, we'll call him early 20s for sure. And he's still living at home. Also accurate in the Middle Ages. He wouldn't leave the house until he got married, and he went and sort of moved in either with her family or built a house of their own.
Know how he feels
And in
about
Italy,
it.
that's still a really common practice,
worry, it wasn't
apparently.
hard.
That's actually a big problem in the economy right now.
I just scratched myself is all.
Well,
He's been fighting with them
don't come crying
swords.
to me if they really do get hurt. Now get up.
There's a lot of detail in the
I know.
costuming.
Yeah, actually, you have a background in costuming as well. Do you want to go
Look at
over?
all that. No, just not. Just all the stitches are really, really.
Yeah. So you actually
Detailed.
worked in New York for a while in costuming.
I did. I don't know. I don't know what I was
Date
thinking.
you're in this
Stage door,
morning.
which
What on
that's
earth
where all the
did you get
celebrities
up
send
to
their
last
kids,
night?
which
Yes,
is
it
sort of
is.
fun. So you get to do
It's
that.
a weird little place.
Right. So what were you doing last night? Chatting in the tavern, dancing with Bianca, working in the forge, which is not going to fly at all.
I want to be. Can I go dancing?
Sure, we'll say you were dancing.
Thank you.
I went dancing
Dancing?
with Bianca.
That's why you're tired. But you'll still have to work today. Well, I've
Oh, we
got
got a level
feeling
in
there's
agility.
something
Thank you
you're
for
not
that.
telling
You're welcome.
me. And it's connected with that scratch on your hand. And that suspicious-looking character with a sword who turned up in town recently.
Oh, one of those.
I would have been interested in sword fighting. Matthias was teaching me archery. I was with Bianca, vitality. Or what does it matter?
Do we want to be super agile, or do we want? This is kind of an interesting system.
Yeah, so it's actually very similar to Fable. The more you use something, the better you get at it. So
Yeah.
if you use a bow, you become better at shooting bows. If you use a sword, whatever.
Let's get better at speech, because I'm assuming the only way we get better at speech is to actually speak, whereas there will be other opportunities to get better at it.
You think
That's
you
actually a
sword fight?
really good point.
Don't you?
Health. Vitality is kind of
Well, here's
health and
what that
endurance.
means to me. Here. I'm not lying to you, man.
That's a good point. I never thought about that about the speech. The only way to get better at speech just is be doing your
But you
speechy
know
bits.
your father takes a dim view of such things.
So, we'll be a good boy.
Do you need me to do anything, man?
You're
Of
a
course
good
you are.
lad. But I'm fine.
He also looks like a
It's
Muppet.
your father
You know,
who's
he's like
helping
has
with
the
that
least
sword.
expression in his face of anyone I've ever seen in my life.
This guy?
Yeah, look at him. No, you disagree?
I think he's got sort of wide set eyes.
He kind of does. All right, so, stupid verted controls. All right, so this is the first thing I noticed when I walked into this room for the first time. So, you were sleeping on a bench. Mm-hmm. Right, okay. Right, here's another bench in the corner. Right. Nice pot on the fire with a nice pot hook. I actually thought that was a really cool detail.
Yeah.
And you can eat from the pot. In the Middle Ages, they always had a pot on the fire. It was called pottage. And one of the coolest things is you have a drop into the pot. So if you have meat, you can just drop it into the pottage. So a pottage was a type of almost like a heavy oatmeal kind of
Yeah.
thing. And then they would constantly just kind of rotate new things into it. So yesterday's scraps, whatever. So pottage was always available. I love that up in the ceiling, all the earthenware on the shelf up here to keep it out of reach of rats, things like that. But there's some really weird stuff in this room to me. Like, watch this. So we're going to go into this room.
What is this?
What is this
room?
What is this room for, right? Okay.
Why are there rooms at all?
Right?
Really?
Okay, storage facility.
Okay.
Really big room for storage for
very
unknown reasons.
Little thing, yeah.
Right? And okay, so up here, they always have lofts in these old buildings, right? And there's let me find jump. There's jump, right? So, you know, where are the beds? Right? So assuming this is a 3-person house, realistically, it should be about the size of this room right here. And there are no beds. Now, I mean, you could say they're like rolled away or folded, but they're just not there. It's just like, you know, whoever started making, I mean, she's going to come in here and sweep the dirt floor, which actually was a thing they did back in the day. It was, you know, so well trodden. It was actually pretty compacted. But, you know, I mean, this is a really well-to-do off guy. I mean, they even have, you know, chicken coops and all that.
What
you know,
year are we?
1453?
Yeah, there should probably be a bed somewhere. Something.
Yeah, I mean, rope beds. I mean, we're already coming in, you know, pallets, all that kind of fun stuff. You know, medieval bath basin and all that. But, you know, the architecture is spot on. You know, this is definitely Eastern European with the wooden slats and all that. It's just, for some reason, they forgot the bed. It's just sort of odd. So if someone online can tell me why Eastern Europeans didn't use beds, I'm super interested. Father the blacksmith. I love this detail, though, that everything up on the ceiling is mainly horseshoes and chains, which is what your town blacksmith would be making all the time because, you know, nobody needs swords.
No. That's a start. Anyway, we've a lot of work to do today. I'm finishing the sword for Sir Radzik, and I need your help.
With what?
I'm running out of charcoal. Run to the market and buy a bag from the charcoal.
Oh, we're gonna fetch some things.
Yes, it's very Legend of Zelda at the start. It's like, and you wake up. Now do 14 unrelated things for the tutorial, then the story will begin. He's just the Deku tree.
Go and tell him to pay up, at least for the axe and hammer, and then use the money to buy the charcoal.
Goodness, not drunkard. That'll be fun.
Well, you're a big lad now.
He is kind of a big lad.
He really is. I also think it's interesting that the two faces for the father and son are actually pretty close together. That's a nice little detail right there. That, you know, they did their best to kind of make them look sort of similar.
To hear it. Is that all?
Not quite. The Chamberlain at the castle has the cross guard for Sir Radzig's sword, which I had engraved.
Oh, there's a
in the
lot of
cell.
things he's gotta do.
Yeah, it's a literal laundry
So,
list.
money, charcoal.
Crossguard.
Yeah, they don't make it easy on you.
I don't got it. I need a pad
Stop
and a
off
piece
at
of
the tavern on
paper.
your way
Well,
home.
they have a quest system in
Oh,
Skyrim, so that you can
good.
just pull it up. Oh, I know, right?
Make sure the ale's still cool from the cellar when you get back.
Yeah, fun little fact, they used to keep ale in the cellar. See, ale was brewed fresh every day because there's no refrigeration, and so the coldest place would be in the basement, which would be, you know, just like in a cave system, Pool 54 or something like that. So ale's good and cool in the basement. Now, first thing, I just because I've done this several times, I'm actually going to run, because I know how to run. I'm going to run up here to the castle and try and pick up that cross guard, which, I know what you're thinking, how come the blacksmith didn't make a cross?
What the hell?
Apparently, can't run past those guys. They didn't like that. They're guards.
I'll be with you.
I'm with you, Henry.
Not head bobbing.
How are you?
Father sent me. We're forging a sword for Sir Radzik, and the Chamberlain has the crossguard.
Right, so it's actually an artificer.
engraved on
If you can imagine, these are made out of precious metals like silver or pewter, so they had to be cast. So they're actually molded in wax and then, you know, melted out. And then obviously the lost wax method to actually, you know, cast these guys. So that's how you get these really nice details. So a sword maker would not be in charge of the pommel and crossguard. You're aware of that, but
Give me what I want, or I'll kick
the
your
audience
ass
may
this
not be.
evening.
Right away.
So they would send it away to be done elsewhere. And you actually, they're obviously wearing the livery right there for their lord.
Keep the sword for
To
myself.
kind of fly their colors, let
Well,
them know
I
who
better
you're
go
working
if we're
for.
to get the job
Oh,
done
is that
by this evening.
foreshadowing?
Godspeed.
Yeah, I know, right? A little bit of they make it as heavy-handed as possible in this game. Oh, your lordship. Yeah, you're not going to be a peasant boy forever. I'll put it that way. Yep. I mean,
I like the sound of that drum.
boom.
That's
It's
good.
nice. I like this guy too. He's Mr. Peasant, taking his hay out of his cart, putting it on the ground. Because you know what? Those horses over there eat a lot of hay every day, and they make a lot of poop. And people don't really respect the amount of time it takes to feed horses and then remove their poop every day. It is a full-time job. So we're jogging into
Wow.
town here.
That is a big town.
It's a full-fledged town. We got our charcoal burner guy, we got the charcoal burning assistant, but we don't have any money yet, so there's no point in talking to them. I pointed out last time I played this that charcoal burner, you know, that's one of the things you don't think about, that the forge needs charcoal. So normally Henry here would have to go out into the woods, chop some stuff down, burn the wood, and then, you know, have a ready supply of charcoal going. But obviously this guy goes through so much of it, he can't do it himself. Oh, there's the guy we're looking for right here. Big Kunesh.
God be with you, Kunesh.
What do you
He's
want?
the one that welched on his payment.
My father sent me to get the coin you owe him for the axe, hammer, and nails.
I've got nothing. Clear off.
You want to threaten him or
Well, your dad said pay for the tools at least.
pay for the tools at least?
You know you owe father for a
He's
lot
gonna
more
punch
than
me in the
just
face no matter what I say, isn't he?
How did you
to
know
pay
that?
about it, you'd be in deep
It's the
water.
tutorial section.
At least pay for the tools if you can't pay for everything.
I've actually tried every different conversation version of this. I really don't think there's a way around it. Maybe if we did speech first. So it's a really complicated system you'll notice here about figuring out.
Whoa.
I know, right? So if you can see down at the bottom, basically you have a speech skill, charisma skill, strength skill, and it's you
Okay.
versus them. If you have a higher ability, you have more likely to be able to convince them.
Okay.
So in this case, we don't know anything about him at all. So we can either threaten my father, threaten him now, try and talk him out of it, or...
So I'm gonna try and talk him out of it, cause.
So you want to try to talk him out of it?
Yeah,
Debts
yeah.
must be paid?
Look, I know things aren't easy. Your wife ran off. Booze is dear these days, and you're as much use as a square wheel. It's no wonder you're short of coin. But a debt's a debt, and I can't leave.
See, I'm not really sure how that was supposed to convince him. Well, I mean, it failed, so I guess that
Right.
makes
Dare you
sense.
speak to me like that? Didn't your thieving father teach you any manners? No? Well,
This guy
I'll
has
teach
really
you then.
wide shoulders.
Take care.
Now we get to get into the combat system. So, as I was talking about earlier, oh god. So apparently, I didn't realize this until afterwards. I've managed to beat this guy. It just takes forever. Every time I've played. And it turns out you're not supposed to be able to beat him. Because there's a whole bunch of other tutorials that happen if you
lose.
if you lose. So it would be faster if I probably just lost. But I don't want to lose a fist fight to this guy.
So how are the controls for this?
So if you see the little dial in the center right there, it actually doesn't make a lot of sense for fist fighting. This is actually a really clunky system, I find, for fist fighting. But it actually works really well for sword fighting. If you've ever played Mountain Blade, it's directional based. So you can attack top, down, side, whatever. Right, so right now I'm just kind of doing a jab on the guy. So it's kind of like keeping the distance, pop him in the face, and then I can do these directional swings that, you know, he binds me up. I mean, it's just, this is one of these fights that's just so stinking annoying. Because apparently you're not supposed to be able to win it, but they didn't ever tell me that.
Bloody hell!
I know, right? It just takes for stinking.
No, it's fine. I don't understand what the bars are at the bottom, what they're
Oh,
measuring.
okay. So red would be your health.
Right.
Yellow is going to be stamina. So every time it gets blue, it's because I'm really low on stamina because I've done too many actions in a row. So, you know, I'm kind of winded. You'll hear me start to pant if I do too many things at once. Hey, I got a new level in an arm. See, like, it turned blue right there because I'm starting to get super winded. Actually, not sure what purple is. Possibly armor or something that hasn't been. Right, for a fight, you're not supposed to be able to win. Right? Just Muhammad Ali, juke and dodge. Ah, shit. I say that and I get punched. You'll notice I just lost a quarter of my health. That's how I know you're not supposed to win this, because every time he touches you, it just knocks the hell out of you. I literally looked it up online because I was like, there's no reason this fight should be this hard this early in the game. Because if you've ever seen a fight between two people, I mean, this is a long fight. I mean, this is two drunk idiots fighting in the streets. But I do think it's pretty cool that, you know, they have a version here where if you do manage to beat him, the story progresses normally. I was watching...
Oh, he's starting to get beat up.
And you can, yeah, his face is bloody, which is super cool. There's really a cool attention going on here.
Yeah.
This whole world's very well put together. Like, apparently, if I commit a crime right now, I'll get thrown in jail. Right? And then when other events occur later on that I'm not going to talk about, I can't do anything because I'm in jail. And you just get game overed, which is hilarious that they put that in there.
Yeah.
It's a very, interesting sort of world. So someone else compared it less to Skyrim and more to like a survival game. Because, it's down at the bottom, we had hunger earlier, you have health, you have to eat, you have to wash, you have to do all these things to really... Alright, I'm just going to back up and get my stamina back. I'm not punching him fast enough. There's this kind of weird delay after you punch, if you can imagine. About a quarter second before the guy actually responds. Apparently, as you level up, that gets less and less because you get better at whatever it is you're doing. Hey! Kicked him in the face! I have no idea how I did that.
You didn't actually read all the combat, did you?
Kind of halfway.
I wouldn't have. See, he can do it to you.
Yeah, well, I don't think it do it to me. This fight just goes on for stinking ever. And it's like I said, technically I just let him win, but I'm not going to let a guy win a fist fight. What kind of a medieval guy would I be? Having said that, the rate I'm going, I'm about to let him win anyway. Oh, thank goodness.
Enough! I give up. Take what you want. It's not much, but it's all I have. You understand?
So I got his key, which is awesome. And then I got his axe. I'm going to go into his house and take everything I want. Why? Because I beat him up. There's nothing he can do about it. I do think it's cool that you can actually look down and see your own body. And you cast a shadow on the wall.
Oh, cool.
Things like that. Which is kind of
Room
fun.
full of benches again. That must be a thing. Is that a thing?
I don't know. Well, yeah, it's funny you say that. So here's a bench, right? So his wife left him, so we can forgive his decorating, the hearth being out and all that. But yet again, so this is actually pretty common, this little in-between area where they would keep animals in the winter. Very common. Even in the United States they did that in old model and type houses. But another kind of room with just random crap in it. Where do these people sleep? I
guess up there.
I don't know. We can jump. We don't see a bed or anything. I don't know. But yeah, that's something they used to do is they live above the animals because the heat from the animals would keep them warm in the winter.
I bet there's probably some sort of sleeping quarters up there.
Yeah, something we don't know about. Now let's talk to our charcoal burner guy real quick.
Good health to you.
Thank you. Oof. Man, that fight did not go well. But I won.
Ooh, okay. Oh, this is nice.
Yeah, I like the...
It's so pretty.
Sort of almost like a wall sconce on what do you call that in a cathedral where you have the guys set into the side right there. So you need 10 charcoal. Currently I'm going to pay him 5, but I'm going to sell, apparently can sell the shirt off my back. Don't want to do that. I'm going to sell everything that guy gave me. And now we're going to, how do I check basket? Close the deal or haggle. We can haggle for a second. I hate haggling in real life, and I hate haggling in games, but if you don't know how to do it, it's kind of fun to talk about. Basically, they have a score right there, and if you annoy them too much, they'll basically say piss off. So we'll not go too greedy here. We're just going to make this offer, see how they...
Since it's you.
Close. Drop the price a bit more and we'll shake on it.
Right. So, I just kind of meet him back in the middle right there. So I got a little more money than I would have.
I agree.
Personally, I don't find haggling worth it in real life. I don't find haggling worth it in games. But that feature is there. And I have my little crest up at the top of the screen, so let's see what's going on.
Hey, Pip. Do you want to learn
I guess you're the shady character everybody's talking about.
Have you recovered from yesterday's great wound?
That was nothing.
Man, you got worked over.
That mother noticed and had a word or two to say about it.
No mother's happy when her son starts to take an interest in swords. Where there's weapons, there's death. The question is, what do you
There's
want?
some seriously broad shoulders in this world.
I feel like I don't belong here.
It makes sense. Life at toil.
And I need to know how to protect myself.
Spoken like a man.
Lots
And
of
as it
bobbing.
happens,
Okay,
today's
calm
the
down.
last chance. I have to leave.
Yeah, they didn't really
So,
invest much in facial animation, so I think they made it up for...
Aren't you ready? Not yet?
Yes, but there's something I need
the-
We gotta do the sword first.
All right.
Yeah, there's other
Wait on
quest
the
stuff
ground,
over
buddy.
here before we go do that. So we're going to go over to the tavern here.
This is an incredibly cliche beginning of journey conversation. I'm totally fine with that. I'm just saying that What do you want out of life? To see the world! Well, today's my last day.
What else? I say only the truth. Sigismund has done only what he had to.
He had to abduct the king. He had to lure his cousin Prokop into a trap and imprison him. He had to invade with his army of Tatars and besiege Gutenberg.
This is called a political plot drop.
What is this Wenceslas for a king?
Which, yet again, if we hadn't
The Empire
watched
is
a
falling.
2-minute cinematic, this would be
is a
more
great
interesting.
way to introduce this.
Yeah, this is actually, you know,
You could-
kind of weaving it into the
You
story.
could cut in all of
Their
those
deeds even.
images.
German counts, traitors.
Now even the Pope.
God be with you, Andy.
I'm with you, Matthew. What's going on here?
Deutsch is spouting shit.
What?
Just listen and you'll hear for yourself.
Someone has to bring order and reunite the Empire.
What do I care about the
That chicken
Austrian
cracks me up.
And nowadays, not even the devil himself can keep up with all the popes. Which is the rightful pope? The one in Rome?
Yeah, and that's one of those comments that really bothers me. Like, that's super blasphemic even for this era. And I realize that, you know, we're going to get the Protestant Reformation in the early 1500s, but that's just not a thought I feel like people would have had. Do you know what I mean?
They would feel pretty sure about where the Pope was.
Yeah, like, you know, if you're in France, sure, he's in France, but everywhere else, it's pretty much Rome, is my
Will soon
understanding.
have nothing left to rule. Jobs had to sell Luxembourg to help your king. South Bohemia is with Sigismund
Don't forget about Gutenberg, where Germans like you kissed Sigismund.
I love the textures. I like the textiles they're wearing right there. Like, you can see the guy in red has patterns actually on his jerkin. I mean, that's so nice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people think about the Middle Ages as this sort of, you know, flat and dull, but, you know, you have all these interestingly brightly dyed colors, you know, because once they went to the white, it's actually a lot more pastels than you would suspect.
Deutsch is an idiot. But what can you do? I might have an idea. Deutsch deserves to be taught a lesson. Doesn't he, Fritz?
Too right, Matthew. Should give him a proper hiding.
Are you mad? Do you want to end up in the pillory? Don't listen to Fritz. I've got a better idea. Deutsch was talking such shit. It made me think of that huge parliament. You know, the one right next to his freshly whitewashed house. You think we should redecorate for it? Count me in.
Well, I'd rather torch it, to be honest. But those says
What do you say?
That's a friend of yours?
Yeah.
I was going to get ale for
You can see why the parents are complaining about the friends, actually. I know we're supposed to be on Henry's side here.
Come on. Doing a few handfuls of manure is not going to take
Are they
It's our duty to
are they
defend the
harassing
honor of
someone
our
for
king.
having an opinion?
An opinion, yes. So for supporting the other king instead of the king that's apparently useless. Now, to be fair, the other guy's sort of attacking, you know. But
I'm
love...
definitely with a non-useless king right now. I mean, they set me up that way.
Yeah, right? Here's my thing, though. Like, oh, you know what we should do with our time? We should pick up poop and throw it at things. Even in the Middle Ages, they didn't do that. No one's like, you know what, let's go take cow turds and rub it on his wall. That sounds like good fun.
I'm sure that happened. Because teenage boys are teenage boys forever.
I guess, but these guys are in their, like, early 20s. All right, so are you going to join them in their turd flinging, or are you going to... Yeah, okay, I didn't think so.
That sounds boring.
It
and these
does,
guys are
and
awful.
they really are. Like, are they supposed to be endearing right now? It's like, let's go fling turds at
We
people.
can manage that. Let's go, lads.
Honestly, hell. How could you possibly...
Oh, they call him Hal.
Yeah, I thought nice detail. If you've ever read or seen Henry V, that's the diminutive form of Henry. This is Bianca.
God save, my lovely. You're looking well today.
You too.
There she
handsome.
is.
What brings you here?
Yeah? You do? Some ale?
What was the question? I'm sorry.
What brings you here?
You do.
Oh, noble sir. I'm as honored as any simple maid can be. And a heart for my beauty? What else might your worship desire?
Picture for father. I love that, like, the Deutsch is saying stupid things. We're just gonna rat the Deutsch out, like, every chance we get. Like, if I were to go up and talk to the guards right now, by the way, you can actually report him to the guards right now.
Oh, gosh.
Why? It's like, what kind of a think are we dealing with here?
I need ale for father.
But every person you talk to from this point moving forward, you get to try and rat out the Deutsch.
But of course.
Thanks.
It's on me today. You can pay me back
Ooh.
this evening.
Linn.
Here you go. And this evening I'll have something more for you.
Oh.
I can't wait.
Thanks. You'll have something to look forward to this evening.
You too. Oh, by the way, that shifty-looking fellow was asking after you.
Vanya?
I suppose. He's a man who makes his coin rubbing on his
This is the sword guy we talked to a minute ago. Apparently everyone in town is just super not okay with a mercenary soldier being in town, even though there's a lot of soldiers in town all the time. But hey.
He promised to teach me how to use a sword.
What use would that be to you?
Enough. You sound just like father.
Now, I know this sounds so boring because I'm in my 30s now and I realize this, but this life sounds really good that he currently has, right? He's like, oh, I want to go on a life of adventure with a sword. It's like, well, you obviously have a, pretty attractive girl that's into you right now. Her dad's probably the owner of this, tavern. So you, as the son of a blacksmith, also have a tavern that you can run and operate. I mean, that's a good life set up and ready to go for you. I mean, but you
come with me.
Oh my god, she's getting onto her husband to come home because he's been drinking too long. Oh man, that's good.
Well, that's what it should be. You have some kind of stasis.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I realize that's how stories work. I'm just saying that in this particular situation, I actually think this is a pretty nice
Don't
little
go on
life.
an adventure.
It's like, oh, it's just so lame here. It's like, dude, you live in a nice little town and.
He doesn't know how
getting
awesome it
some
is.
free ale.
He can't
I wonder if I
appreciate
chase
it.
the sheep. Oh, you can herd sheep. Oh, I did not know you could do that.
You cannot run that fast.
Yeah, but I can herd sheep. I cannot believe you can herd sheep. That is an amazing detail. I really didn't know I could do that.
You found the grocer.
I found the what?
The grocer.
Grocer.
Yeah. It said that. That's what it said.
I guess that's where you can buy food. Let's talk to Combat Master Mike. So this is actually where the game starts to shine, is when you start using the sword. Because that weird goofy dial you saw a second ago, the 5-pointed star, didn't really make a lot of sense when you're punching people, because it's just, a face. But with the sword, it really starts to work pretty well.
Very well. Let's start.
Now talk to me about this style.
Okay, so I actually assumed that they were going to use Fiores. So Fiore is an Italian master. They just want me to move right now, don't let them get close to me. Fiore is an Italian master, but unfortunately a lot of European martial arts just kind of swear by the guy. Now, even though this is Bohemia, so they should be using more German style, like Talhofer or something like that. So you have an upper attack, which is Sinestre, or De Postadana? I can't remember what it's called, but basically the overhand attack, right? So I can just smack him overhead. So you have your four corners coming into play, then you also have the ability to stab from the front. Now, the thing this game does differently, instead of just doing a single attack, is in a moment they're going to teach you how to chain them together. So after you go down and slash, you come back up. Right, so blocking, am I blocking right now? Oh no, I'm stabbing. Right, so this, just like a real sword fight, this game seems to be a lot more about distance, trying to find that appropriate to not getting too close to grappling.
Let's try something else.
It looks good.
Yeah, no, this part does. Like I said, it doesn't really work particularly well for punching people, but it works really well for the swords. Alright, so this is where I was talking about chaining strikes together. So I'm going to go overhead, up, down, and then from the side there. And you can see how it kind of flows pretty well.
That's cool.
So down, from the side. Ooh, that won't chain particularly well. But yeah, I mean, considering, you can see they definitely started off with a good style of combat and then kind of went from there.
I don't take this personally, but your stamina is really low. How do you
up your stamina?
Yeah.
More Bianca in your life, apparently?
Really?
Yeah, well, that's what gave you stamina at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
Go back to Father at the Forge. But yeah, grass, man. Like, sometimes you gotta stop and appreciate the fact that this is an overgrown world with grass everywhere. I do find some things sort of odd, like this broken down cart, just hanging out there. And this is a world where resources are still very scarce. I mean, the reason a lot of modern castles didn't survive the Middle Ages is because people just took every stone they could find off of them. And I don't see someone about the things you wanted.
About time. Have you got everything I wanted?
I have.
I have charcoal, the hilt, and the ale.
Because you gotta drink before you can start doing anything with blacksmithing.
Well done. Right. Let's see what kind of job the master in Sasau did for us.
So it's acid etched to be able to do something like that. So actually using acid to get those fine details. You can see it in a lot of armors from the period. It's not actually chisel work for the most part. It's using acid as well.
Lord Radzig ordered it. This will be the finest sword I've ever made.
It's pretty gorgeous.
We got the charcoal.
It's so funny thing about swords. You know, you're building what looks to be a hand-in-half sword in this world here, and swords are sort of useless in a way that people don't realize, especially the 1450s. I mean, people completely encased in plate armor. I mean, you can you can try and stab and get in the gaps, but that's about it. I mean, a sword is a sidearm. It's sort of like the equivalent of a pistol to a modern military person. You know, this is something they only go to after the main weapon has failed.
Someone threw dung at Deutsch's freshly lime-washed house, maybe. And maybe those cronies of yours had something to do with it.
That Deutsch was talking treason in the tavern about Sigismund and the king.
Like he gets in trouble for something he didn't even do.
Got what he deserved.
It's just like being real life.
Got what he deserved, did he? Look, I don't know if you're mixed up in this or if it's just those friends of yours. It's all the same to me. But I have a trade to run. The German pays
right?
well.
And he's right.
Having my son in the pillory helps nothing and nobody, least of all the king.
Pillory, if you're not aware, is a sort of like the stocks is what we call it in English. Is basically in the town square. He is trying to chain somebody up. They have to stand out there for X number of hours, and everybody knows they did something wrong, which doesn't sound particularly bad, except for the fact that people can also kind of come up and slap them and throw fruit at them and stuff like that. So it's meant to be sort of a more of a public expression of humiliation as opposed to anything else.
Boy, ever listen to a word I say? So Deutsch spouts was so what?
Exactly right. What does it matter?
You might win a fight with violence, but you'll never win an argument.
I like that line.
Yeah,
remember, Henry, if you want to convince someone that they're wrong, try using your mouth, not your fists.
It's true. If you want to convince them, you always beat them, but they're not going to be convinced about it. Life lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Furnace is ready.
Right, we'll do the grip.
So I'm really, when you watch this part right here, clearly whoever's making this, talk to someone who makes swords at some point, because this is one of those weird little details you don't think about. So to get the hilt to properly fit, instead of trying to bore it through with a, some type of screw or something like that, they actually heat up the piece, the metal you're seeing here. They're going to take the grip and then ram it onto it and let it actually burn into it to make it a perfect fit.
Good. Once more.
Now, I will say that he probably needs to be wearing gloves. I couldn't imagine him doing that with that red-hot metal without actual gloves on, like his dad has. It would be so hot. I did blacksmithing a couple times, and basically, that guy's broad shoulders are no joke. I mean, it's basically picking up a 15-pound sledgehammer and hammering it over and over and over again. Like, it's just crazy the amount of ability you have to have.
Father, why did you leave Prague? Who ever heard of a master swordsmith making horseshoes?
Right, it is a good question.
I had my reasons, Hal. And here I have your mother and you. Why would I want any other life?
Do you remember Emperor Charles?
I do. Life was good under his reign.
Better than now.
He built half of Prague, a score of castles, had a bridge made over the Moldau, and founded a university, and all without a war.
Interesting point to make right there is that wars cost a lot of money, so if he had had a war, he wouldn't have been able to afford any of those things. It's not that people don't want to do things like that, it's just that, if they're already embroiled in those sort of situations, the amount of monetary investment is so high that they kind of have to choose between them. You can't really, just because they were at peace, it's not particularly even that guy's that he allowed the peace to happen. He just kind of reaped the benefits of it.
No. Wenceslas may not be the equal of his father, but Sigismund. He brings shame to the royal name.
So yeah, apparently we're back on the wrong horse according to this guy.
How's it going?
Now, this last little bit right here, what he's going to do is he'll put the grip on, then he'll put the pommel on, and then he'll do something called peening, which he'll hit the end of his tang right there, and it'll sort of kind of, if you can imagine, kind of smush it all together, so it keeps it from ever coming back off the end again. So yeah, he's going to knock it down, and that actually should come out the top. It should be a little longer, so normally it would go all the way out the top end, and then sort of smush over the end right there.
It's magnificent.
Indeed it is. The Lord be with you. My father sent me for those nails.
Good day to you, Teresa. Good day to you, Teresa. They're ready. They're ready. Will you fetch them for me, Hal? Will you fetch them for me, Hal? They're in the trunk in the living room.
Yeah, it's been a whole 5 minutes since she had a fetch quest, so let's get right on that. And if you're wondering why she has a name, I don't know either. It's like, you know, cool. I guess she's important, or maybe she's not. Maybe they just want to make sure every villager has a name and not just say villager, which I would appreciate.
Yeah, that might be might explain the broken down cart. That it's a small community, so whoever's broken down cart it is,
Everybody knows.
Has
Well, yeah, I did like that when you talked to the guards earlier. They know you by name.
Mm-hmm.
My friend's been here. Do you need any help? Yeah. Golly, your face is so mucked up. I figured you could get help with that. Guess not. Let's see. Ooh, nails for Teresa, a bandage, marigold decoction, and save your schnapps. If I can take it, I'll take it. Now, save your schnapps, which you saw earlier, is the only way you can quick save in this game. They actually make it so the save points are really far apart. So if you make a decision, you kind of got to live with it, because those quick saves are really expensive.
That will do. Go and get those damn nails.
Thanks. So, how's Bianca?
She's fine.
Oh.
Just wondering, will you be going to the dance this evening?
We will.
Maybe we'll see each other there. Anyway,
She has the hots for you.
I'll be on my way. That sort of is true.
So are you Team Bianca, Team Teresa?
It's a true adventure quest video game.
I just love that they can't. It's like, who thought? You know what? This camera, we need a butt shot right
Behind
here.
last, he says.
Now stop
That's what he was
staring at
thinking.
her and come and see this. It's time for the trial by fire.
Let's put a butt shot in here. That's what this game's missing. A whole 30 minutes into it.
Turning into The Witcher, where all the women.
Typically an ash stave, a very small, thin piece of wood. It's similar to what they do with the mats in Japanese
I would
culture.
expect nothing less from such a renowned swordsmith.
Came out of nowhere. It's like, hey,
It's kind of freaky.
Those days are gone.
we were here, now we're not.
You haven't lost your skills, then.
The ox. So that is actually a Talhofer stance. I was mentioning the German sword masters from earlier. It's amazing.
So, what good is a sword to a
There's only
commoner?
probably about 4 or 5 fighting manuals that have actually survived from the Renaissance era, and that's one of them. So, like, I mean, you're telling me the kid never played with sticks to learn how to do that? You know,
That was really pathetic. I feel sorry for us.
it's embarrassing for everyone involved. I love the comparisons on those horses. They're just gorgeous.
But who knows what the future holds for each of us.
You know how you can tell he's a lord instantly?
Have it finished.
It's not covered in poop. Also, his clothing is very, very fancy.
Oh, yeah.
It sounds dumb to say, but, you know, clothing costs a lot of money back in the day, especially nice clothing. And so, you know, it's a really easy way to tell someone's a peasant or a lord, because they'll wear what they have. You know, they'll actually use that money to invest it back in the economy and wear these really nice clothes.
Working in a place like this. A man of his talent would have no problem making a fortune in Prague or Vienna.
You're right. It's a very long and peculiar
What is those turbans called? That weird, like, Renaissance era turban. What is the name of that thing?
Duty calls,
sorry.
and I must leave. Here you are.
B, do you want to join the conversation right here?
Truly is a master.
Are you also curious about his background?
I'm sure our paths will cross again.
It's like that is a yes.
Once it's ready, send your son up to me with it. Good work, Martin. Good work, Martin.
First name basis.
It's been an honor, says that. Have a safe journey to Saturn.
The honor is mine, Sir Radzik. Thank you for the hospitality.
A long, peculiar history. That was a long time ago. I might tell you about it sometime, but not today.
You teach me how to use it, like Sir Radzik said.
Why?
Could come in useful. Maybe I'll travel a bit before settling down.
I'd like to know more than the tavern on the green and the forge. You know the trouble with an adventurous life, son? It can end before it gets started. I might teach you how to handle a sword, and then someone will shoot you with a crossbow as soon as you set foot outside the house.
Yeah, crossbows. No joke during this period, by the way. Siege crossbows especially can go up into the hundreds of foot-pounds. I mean, they had entire cranking systems just designed for them. And they can punch through armor. They have that much power behind them.
So, when do we get to play the game?
First, I'd like to see
I assume they're setting up the world right now, and I get that. They're just being a little heavy-handed about it.
So you've no need to learn swordplay.
Oh, that looks... Oh, good. That looks like plot.
The messenger. He was in a hurry. What's happened?
I like to call this guy the slowest messenger ever. Message! There's men out there! Yes, Dan, we can see that. Thank you so much, Dan. What are you doing, Dan? We have Breaking Bad over there, little Walter White with a mustache.
Mm-hmm.
I assume the guy on the left is Sigismund.
This is not gonna go well.
Nope. But I do wonder why they're attacking this location. So if he's a guy trying to take it over piece by piece, right? Well, I mean, they're already there. There's no need to attack the town.
No, that really seems like it's not. That can't be historical. It's just really dumb.
Well, I mean, it's sort of like this. I mean, you can make an argument for the Sevichet, which is what happened in kind of Norman France and kind of continued on in the 100 Years' War. Basically, you go into an area and decimate its ability to make money. But if he's trying
but that's different between just, like launching arrows into a village.
Well, I mean, theoretically, he's trying to set the village on fire before they ever get there. But it's like if he's trying to take the town, why would he burn it to the ground first? It ruins his ability to make money from it.
Right.
Right. Like if he just wants the castle and that lord to join his side, like if he wants control of the country, it's far more effective to negotiate. Frankly, once the army's there, I mean, these people can't do anything except give up anyway. But, like you said, it's one of the tropes of the era. Bloodthirsty conquest and all that. But, if this place was, like, really far behind enemy lines, yeah, I could see why you'd kind of launch a quick raid and go back again. So, I mean, there is a reason they would do something like this, I suppose.
Are you mad? You can't go back!
That's not talking about making a choice instead of...
Yeah. Any kind of choice right now. I mean, we haven't touched the controller in... What, 5 minutes, probably?
Yeah.
So this... He's very good with the sword, which you'll see here. He uses the point, which, could punch through chainmail. Makes sense. Goes for the neck there. Still legit. I was talking about, the specific uses of swords. Like, how did that kill that guy? It was a slashing blow across chainmail. That wouldn't have done anything. And that's why halberds and things like that existed to punch through armor.
No, so you get to witness this. Oh, yeah.
That's what they use swords for, riding down peasants. Peasant killing weapon.
They did not know how to render those emotions. Oh. Wow.
That's extremely excessive, isn't it?
Right.
It's like, why are there 4 people stabbing her?
I think there's 7.
Everybody they could find started stabbing. Walter White, though, right? Possibly Mr. Clean with a mustache. I don't know. He doesn't have a name yet, so I'm just going to call him Breaking Bad.
Come on, Hal! You can still make it! Run!
Why aren't you doing this? As a gamer, you need to run up this hill.
Yeah, they're kind of taking your agency. I can only assume that,
Find a horse!
I don't know.
They paid for this? Felt they needed to use it?
I mean, it's an intro sequence to a game. They're always a little hold your hand.
This is the freaking intro sequence?
Yeah.
Okay, no. That was the intro. No. We did the intro sequence. We're in heavy plot now. We're like halfway through Act 1. at this point.
I do like you'll notice this is a old style Mott and Bailey castle. It's actually multiple layers of defense right there. It's not just one. We're supposed to ride for help, by the way. I'm assuming you saw that. Run for help. That's right. The quest is just to run for help.
See, if you had been running
before, yeah.
Before, now it's not as fun. Where am I going?
To get help.
Yeah, we gotta make sure we don't outrun the stamina bar. Perhaps we should have put some points in that because it's gonna be a long walk.
Horse riding.
The distance at which you would oh good, we get a horse. Oh jeez.
Yeah, this is one of those ludicrously short distances.
Okay, that's fine.
Help racing away from the rapist. Good job. Wait, did it count? It didn't count. Ah! Oh, it counted. Okay, good. Like I said, I did this one earlier. So they want you to help her get away. This is a little slow triggering up right there. I mean, they're in full armor, and nothing I can do for them. Come on. Ride like you mean it, horse. Oh my god.
You're gonna have to go a serious distance. Oh, okay. It's just gonna
Just go to another cutscene.
through the you're
Yeah, they're just murdering every peasant they find.
See, this is a legitimate place for a cutscene because you have to go really far. Oh no, this needs to be sorry, this needs to be gameplay.
Yeah, shot right through the leg. That is not a good place to get shot. I like how they think they're like, oh, it's okay.
That's,
I mean, if
that's
that
an
hit
artery.
the femoral,
Yeah.
right, the femoral artery, man, people bleed out in minutes if that happens. Well, I mean, and you'll notice they actually give you a bleeding, which is
Interesting.
the wound must be bandaged or Henry will bleed to death. Good to know.
Are those people shooting at you?
Yeah, there should be arrows flying past.
Left.
Last time yep. Okay, yeah, wow, okay, yeah, they're definitely shooting at me. So the last time I played this, I tried to turn around with the right stick while I was riding, and if you notice this stream after I left over there, I ran right into the stream and then hit against a bush and couldn't back out of it because the three guys boxed me in and then was chopped to death.
Oh my god.
So like I said, had to restart. We're on like our third restart here. Okay, the horse does not like that. We have to slow down. I imagine this is kind of game where you can ride your horse to death. The horse also has a stamina bar.
These peasants are not bright. If you're running away
Do
from
not
a marauding
run
army,
on the road.
don't run on the road.
Yeah, no peasant in their right mind would ever run along the road. The first thing they do is always run into the forest. Oh my god, I don't want to die right now. Yeah, that's right. Tell them to run for it. Tell them to run into the road. Maybe they'll slow those guys down for you.
Yeah.
This world, though, is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
I mean, this looks like some place you would just visit. You mean the dirt roads, and you get some logging and all going on right here.
This looks expensive.
Yeah. Especially for a first-time release. I mean, it's damn impressive. They ended up getting bought, or not bought, their distributor is Deep Silver, the people that make, interestingly, the Saints Row games.
Really?
Yeah, not a huge publisher, but a pretty big one. So, I mean, they caught people's attention pretty quick, and they invested some more money in it here. I mean, it had an Xbox release and a PlayStation release as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's right, run. Gosh. I think those people have the right reactions. What in the hell? People think about this period as one of just constant endemic violence, but I mean, unless there's a war going on, I mean, it's still very much law-based. I mean, there's consequences for everything, and if you murder someone, you go to jail for that. I mean, you don't just get beat up on the streets and have no issues from it. Those guys are really bad shots, by the way. Like, there's just three dudes on horses, you can't even hit one of them. think your horse had like a lather on top of it from when you just ridden it really hard. Let's see again. Look, we'll see. Look on its haunches here. Oh no, it's just the coloring of the horse. But you're really impressed. I mean, I'm already pretty impressed. I mean, the graphics have been.
Someone give him a drink. And bring hot wine and
I
bandages.
was about to say, I don't think a beer's gonna fix that, bud.
Probably going into shock at this point.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
Tell me, boy. Who are you? And where are you from? What in hell's name happened?
Yeah.
I've come from Skalitz.
You don't think about that, but even one town over, no one would know you during this era. That's why so many people end up staying in the same towns.
Who burned it to the ground?
A huge army. They attacked without warning.
Letters of introduction were actually important, you know, because one, not a lot of people know how to write, so therefore it was probably official.
Their language. Maybe Tartars?
Tartars, you say? Well, we'll deal with that later. First, let's have a look at that leg of yours.
Been hooked by a fish hook before. I can only imagine how much worse this is.
Pull that arrow out.
Don't pull the arrow out, man. That could. Ooh.
What else is going on?
Well, I like that he blacked out right there, because that's about right.
Yeah.
Easy.
Oh man, that was. At least it wasn't a barbed tip. That could have been a lot worse.
You were lucky, lad. The arrow missed the bone.
Ugh. Yeah. If it hit the bone or shattered the bone in any way, I mean, that's basically instant leg loss in this era. Because there's no way to repair the bone in a way that doesn't bring infection. Especially that high up, he would never survive. It's too close to the. Too close to a femoral artery.
Thank you.
If you idlers nothing better to do, get back to work.
I like him. He's
You'll have to
entertaining.
speak to Lord Divish. Can you manage?
See, this is more what I expected a lot of the houses to look like, with painted walls and all that. You know, I mean, not quite that much, obviously, but I played The Witcher recently, and, you know, everything had little decorations on it and stuff. You know, people lived there for a long period, so they do to make it kind of homey.
Tell me, boy.
I mean, if you had a hovel, you'd try to make the hovel look nice, wouldn't you?
Did you see the ensigns of the attackers? Were there any more survivors?
So, I don't know what army it was, but it was huge. There were dozens of banners flying on the hill above Skalitz. The ones who did the slaughtering spoke a strange language. They burned Skalitz to the ground. But a lot of people took refuge in the castle.
Which is actually a pretty safe place to be. I mean, basically, they had more to worry about starvation than anything else. It's very rare that castles in this area were ever actually taken by siege.
They could be those Cumans of Sigismund's. It said they came to Hungary from the east, and now they're the core of his army.
Mercenary troops.
Sacking Gutenberg. Must have given him a taste for stolen silver.
Well, they are
Skalitz
mercenaries.
is a small castle, sir. If Sigismund attacks, they can't hold.
Indeed, Sir Robard. And our small garrison would be no help, even if we could risk sending them.
You think we're next in line?
Maybe.
I love that doublet. That is some expensive cloth.
I'm Henry, son of the Skalitz blacksmith.
I know him. Did he make it inside the castle?
I think they're not explaining how everybody knows your dad in this world.
It's in God's hands now. No one else can help us. Anyway. Thank you for risking your neck to warn us. Robard, take care of Henry. Make sure he gets something to eat and some rest.
Yes, sir.
And get all the people inside the gates. We have to prepare for the worst.
I do like that they make this guy seem competent, you know, not like just another wine-drinking lord or whatever. I mean, a lot of these people were governors, they're from the area. I mean, it's in their best interest to see the towns do well because they also make money from it. I know that sounds very self-interested.
Yeah, but they also feel that they're taking responsibility, that God has given them responsibility of these peasants.
Too often you see the trope where it's like, well, damn the peasants and all that, and it kind of throws it in the air. But I definitely like they're doing something a little different there. And you know what? I think that's as good a place as any to sort of stop for our first bit of playthrough right there.
Yeah.
So I definitely think we managed to get through the majority of the...
Please don't say the majority of the introduction. Are you about to say the majority of the introduction?
Well, they haven't made us do a tutorial sequence and haven't topped anything up on the screen in a whole 10 minutes. But then again,
But if we'd have lost that fist fight, man, we'd had to
sit through about
learn
4
how to
more of them.
heal some
Apparently, this
things.
game has lockpicking in it, but it's the most difficult lockpicking in a game ever. So I am not looking forward to finding out what that looks like.
Be a bit more careful.
You ran into me. Well, anywho, thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this, make sure to leave a comment below if you want to see more of it. And yeah, as always, we enjoy doing it, so have fun out there. See you next time.
Bye.
Food.